ドジャースがレンジャーズから FA となっていたカービー・ギエーツ投手との契約合意に至ったと、日本時間22日に複数の米メディアが報じました。同時に、ドジャースはパドレスから FA となっていたリリーフ左腕タナー・スコットと4年総額$7200万の契約を結んだばかりです。こうした積極的な補強が続く中、米スポーツ専門局、FOX スポーツのアナリストで、大谷マニアとして知られるベン・バーランダー氏が注目を集めています。バーランダー氏は自身の番組で、ドジャースに腹を立てるのではなく、このような事態を放置している他のすべてのチームに腹を立てるべきだとの私見を述べました。さらに、球団の財務透明性についても問題提起し、球団はケチだと泣き言を言うが、帳簿を開いて本当にいくら稼いでいるのかを示そうとしない。それがここでの問題だと辛辣に指摘しました。これらの発言や議論の様子を日本語字幕付きで詳しくご紹介します。
We're ready to talk baseball. We're ready to talk Dodgers because here's what everybody's all up in arms about. The Dodgers, before even they did this, they were signing so many people. But now the Dodgers have signed Roki Sasaki, who is there's no way, he is a young phenom. I don't say that lightly. He's just turned 23 years old. He's coming over from Japan. He's a superstar over there. He ended up signing an amateur deal to come over here because he came over here years before you can as an international free agent, but came over here very early, 23 years old, 2 years ago. At 20 years old, this guy threw a 19 strikeout perfect game in Japan in MPB, struck out 13 guys in a row, followed that up his very next start with a perfect game into the 9th inning when he got pulled because he had too many pitches. So they shut him down. But essentially, 2 games, like 1 game and 8+ innings of perfection. That's how good this guy is. Rowdy Tellez, after the World Baseball Classic a couple of years ago, talked to Rowdy Tellez, who was on Team Mexico, faced Roki Sasaki. He said, this guy would be an ace of a staff on 25 of 30 teams. And now he's this big free agent. Teams are sending their best to get him. You hear the Padres, the Dodgers, and the Blue Jays are all still in. Padres fall out. It comes down to the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. And the Dodgers end up getting him. Moments before the decision goes final, moments before Roki Sasaki posted on Instagram his decision, reportedly Shohei Ohtani texted Dodgers executives just the words, "We got him." And the Dodgers did get him. Roki Sasaki going to the Dodgers. And now this has opened up a conversation that has been ongoing for weeks now with the Dodgers, which I have a lot of thoughts about, and people, I would say I'm more so in the minority. I just think people are mad at the Dodgers for doing what they're doing, and which is signing everybody, deferring all of their money. But let's talk about the Dodgers as a whole. First off, the Dodgers are 3 months. What is January 21st? The Dodgers are 3 months removed from winning the World Series, right? Best team in baseball, win the World Series, you're world champions. And their weakness was starting pitching, right? They're throwing out bullpen games. They had a bullpen game and a do-or-die game against the San Diego Padres. Let's not forget that. The Dodgers were not supposed to be in the World Series. The Padres had them in a position where they felt great about winning. They needed to win 1 of 2 games. They had a bullpen game from the Dodgers coming. Padres were sitting pretty. Next thing you know, Dodgers win that and go on to win the World Series. Their weakness was starting pitching. Now, they're getting the greatest player ever back on the mound. They're adding a 2-time Cy Young Award winner to their rotation. They add Roki Sasaki, who, where is he going to? Is he going to be a number 5 in the rotation? The greatest 5 of all time in a rotation? Their weakness was starting pitching, and they have now assembled the greatest rotation of all time? I mean, again, I'm not being hyperbolic here. I truly believe this might be the greatest rotation of all time. You have Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki. That's insane. As Rowdy Tellez said a couple years ago, when Roki Sasaki was 20 years old, this guy would be an ace ace of a staff on 25 of 30 teams. Not the Dodgers. He's going to slot in as a 5? Is that what we're saying right now? That's insane. So the Dodgers just win the World Series, and they have so far signed Roki Sasaki, Blake Snell, Teoscar Hernandez, Tanner Scott, the best closer, the best relief pitcher available. They get Tanner Scott. They minutes ago, early this morning, signed Kirby Yates, Blake Trinan, Michael Conforto, Hai-Song Kim. It's insane what they're doing, right? So, not to mention, in that rotation, you have guys, your depth pieces, in quotes, depth, because anywhere else they're in a rotation. Your depth are Dustin May, Gavin Stone, Bobby Miller, Tony Gonsolin. Like, what's the deal with Kershaw? Like, that's your depth for a rotation. And then if it's not needed in a rotation, then you put them into a bullpen, and it's like, what? This is insane. That's how much the Dodgers are deferring over the next decade. So here's my thoughts on the deferments, because I have continued to say baseball doesn't have a problem. Baseball doesn't need a salary cap. Baseball speaks for itself. It's the longest of the major sports drought of a back-to-back champion ever in any sport, baseball. So do we have a problem of super teams? Absolutely not. But here's what I'll say. The 2025 Dodgers will be the first team in history to possibly push Major League Baseball to do something. This could be a big problem. Is it yet? I would say no. But this team, the Dodgers, the 2025 Dodgers, are going to push the boundaries of what is fair in baseball. Will it work out? I don't know, but they have the greatest offense, they have the greatest starting pitching, and arguably the greatest bullpen in baseball. Where's their weakness? They don't have one, but it's baseball, and anybody can win on any given day. And I know that's cliche, I know it's ridiculous, but for years in a row, the Dodgers were the best team in baseball with a first-round exit. And I would argue that they should have had a first-round exit again this past year. The Cleveland Guardians ended up in the ALCS this past year with a rotation of guys you can't name. They were held together by a stick of bubble gum and glue, and they made it to the ALCS. It's baseball. The Dodgers will deal with injuries. The Dodgers will deal with underperformance. The Dodgers will deal with postseason moments that are going to be make or break, and they're either going to push past the first round, or they could easily lose in the first round. It is baseball. But what I will say is what I just said is I do think the 2025 Dodgers are the greatest team on paper ever assembled, right? Better than those Yankees teams of the 90s that won those championships. But we've seen these Dodgers teams be great and the best regular season team and then lose in the postseason. I think this 2025 Dodgers team will push the boundaries of what is fair in Major League Baseball. We don't have a problem until there is one. But the Dodgers, if they win this upcoming World Series and it's a cakewalk throughout baseball and teams in the National League keep sitting on their heels because why are we going to sign anybody if the Dodgers are on paper going to be better than us? We're just going to sit back and hope when it comes postseason time that we can beat them in a 5-game series. The Dodgers literally just Tanner Scott, the best relief pitcher available. The Dodgers signed Tanner Scott so that he couldn't be used against them in the playoffs. We don't want Tanner Scott coming in against Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani. Let's sign this guy. Why not? We're just going to defer his money. They deferred $21 million of his dollars. We're going to defer the money, and he'll help them win a World Series again. People don't understand how baseball works. No team has repeated as champs since 1998 to 2000 when the Yankees did it. Even with all of these moves, the Los Angeles Dodgers will lose 50-plus games. They will have injuries, and they will have make-or-break moments in the postseason. So those are my thoughts with the deferred money. But in terms of the Dodgers signing everyone, the players want to play in Los Angeles. That's the thing about being a free agent. Put yourself in their shoes, right? Players are literally taking less money. Tanner Scott signed with the Dodgers. He had multiple offers for more money and more years, but he signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Why? Because what the Dodgers are offering is the chance to play with the greatest player of all time and win. You can do both of those things. Why would you go anywhere else? Why, if you're a player that's set to make X amount of millions, would I take $3 million more one place when I can go play with the greatest player of all time and win another place? The Dodgers have created the place to play. And it all started with signing Shohei Ohtani, which, if you remember, a year ago this time, everyone's saying $700 million for Shohei Ohtani. This is crazy. No player's ever worth that. Well, I hope people now understand why that is the case, why players are worth it. And we've seen this since the beginning of time. It's not about that one player and what they bring. It's about what that means to an organization and what that shows to other players. Signing Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers started everything. They already made their money back in the first year with endorsements. Look at all the Japanese endorsements the Dodgers now have. Look at everybody talks about the Dodgers. They've already won one World Series. They've had Shohei for 1 year. They won a World Series. Now all these other players want to come play with him. Yeah, you want to win, but you're literally being offered the chance. We're talking about Babe Ruth. You're being offered the chance to play with the modern day Babe Ruth, if not better.